So Nintendo has pricing controversy once again. So for the past couple months, I've actually been giving credit to Nintendo for some of their pricing decisions. Star Fox and Splatoon Raiders are both $50 games digitally and $50 physically at Walmart, even though it's $60 physically at other retailers. And that's $20 cheaper than every single retail Switch 2 game from 2025. So it seemed like they kind of learned their lesson with some games, because I think some of the games just didn't perform as well as they wanted to with some of the higher prices. So it seemed like they lowered the digital price and just had the physical games be the price it would have been otherwise, but then Walmart and Amazon had those lower prices, so it didn't really matter. But now Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is $70 digitally, $80 physically, although it still has the $70 at Walmart. And that kind of shows that it was kind of an illusion what Nintendo was doing with the pricing. So yes, for smaller games, it seems like the price might be smaller, but $80 for Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, and that's really going to hurt this game. Like, Fire Emblem is not a super niche series, like it is very popular, but I wouldn't be surprised if that really impacted sales and we end up seeing the price drop a little bit or have more sales, because we've seen it now with quite a few Switch 2 games, Pokemon Legends ZA, Kirby Air Riders, Metroid Prime 4. We've seen these games get pretty big sales, like they have been more than half off, and you could typically find them around $40 now, like if you're looking in the right place. And I can almost guarantee that the price had something to do with it. Yes, these games are not all critically acclaimed, but when you charge $70 and people just don't want to spend $70 on the game, that's usually what's going to happen. So will the popularity of Fire Emblem be enough to counter the $80 price tag? I don't know. And yes, again, it is $70 digitally, $70 at Walmart. But that's still a lot of money for a Fire Emblem game. I think this also pretty much confirms that every Mario, Zelda, and mainline Pokemon game is going to be $80. Ocarina of Time, I can almost guarantee you it will be $80, or at least $80 physically, $70 digitally. Whenever the next 3D Mario comes out, you can guarantee that. Probably the same for Smash, the same for Pokemon Winds and Wave, so it's going to be $160 if you want to get the physical copies of both those, unless we're still seeing the $10 cheaper, but still $140 for 2 Pokemon games is significant money. So I didn't know what they were going to do with this price. I was predicting that it was going to be $60 digitally, $70 physically, especially since Splatoon Raiders is $50 digitally, $60 physically, and Splatoon's a pretty popular series by itself. And also Yoshi. Like Yoshi, we saw $60 digitally, $70 physically. So now I'm a little surprised by this pricing decision for Fire Emblem specifically. Like, as someone who's not really a big Fire Emblem fan, like, outside of Awakening, I've never been a big fan of the series. I'm just not paying $80 for this game. I'm not paying $70 for it. And I think there's a lot of people like that who may have some interest in the game, but don't want to pay the premium price tag for it. And unlike something like a Mario or a Zelda, I feel like this game is really going to be impacted by that. So something like Ocarina of Time, like, that's a game, like, it's going to cost $80 physically. I hope that Walmart or Amazon will have it for $70, because that's just a game I'm going to get on launch. That's not going to be every Nintendo game. I don't think every Nintendo game is going to be $70, $80 like this. But it's interesting now, like, what are they actually going to do with that price? Are they going to maybe make Pikmin that price whenever that comes out? The next Mario Party, the next Animal Crossing, the next Kirby game? We don't know now. This raises a lot of questions. And also Switch 2 editions, like, I've been very critical of these pricing decisions. $70 each for Xenoblade Chronicles 1 through 3, the Switch 2 editions. And to my knowledge, I'm not 100% sure on this, I don't believe they come with the DLC, the ones that have DLC. So you're telling me a game that released for $60 in 2017 is now $70 because it has a few minor upgrades, a few graphical improvements. And I do know that it's just $10 for the upgrade if you already own the game. But still, what other game company does this? Where not only do they not drop the price after 9 years for a game on a previous generation, but they raise the price for minor upgrades for the same game. It's not a remaster, it's not a remake, it is the same game with some updates. And especially for Xenoblade 1, yes, I know the remaster came out last year, but now a Switch 2 edition of that is even more expensive. Like, I just can't support that. And if we look at something like Xenoblade 2, which is an old game now, it's 9 years old now, if it was $60 and came with the DLC, then that's something I can understand. But Nintendo just does not really make, like, complete editions of their games like literally every other company does. Like, if you look at Resident Evil, like, they'll usually have, like, they have the gold edition for Resident Evil 7. I think now you can literally find it for like $20 or something. But I think when they initially released it, it was $40. And kind of similar to like a Switch 2 edition where they released it on current gen consoles. Like, it had those upgrades, it had the DLC. And it's not like Resident Evil is like a tiny franchise. Like, it's a massive franchise and got that treatment. And it's pretty much the same for like every other big game. Like, usually after like a year or two, they'll release like a complete edition with all the DLC, maybe some upgrades if it's on a next-gen console. And it will be cheaper than the original, and Nintendo doesn't do that. And I don't think we need to protect Nintendo from criticism here. Like, this is the reason why people say Nintendo games never go on sale, because they do things like this. And I'm not saying they're not allowed to do this. If Nintendo feels that they can still make more money from doing this, then of course they're going to do that. Doesn't mean it's good for the consumer. Doesn't mean that it always works for them. I've just never really understood Nintendo's logic with game prices pretty much being the same. Like, I think they think that if the game releases at $60, then it's always worth $60, and they will never consider lowering it unless they absolutely need to, or if there's just a sale. And I've seen people defend this, saying if the game was $60 at launch, then it doesn't just drop in value. And I disagree with that. Like, almost everything, whether it's gaming or not, drops in value over time. Like, for example, if you want to buy a movie, like if you want to buy a Blu-ray of a movie that just came out, it's going to be more expensive than the price of it 5 years later. If you want to buy technology, it's going to be cheaper years later. And you could say, well, that's a little different because the technology becomes obsolete, the game is still the same. And that's a fair point. But still, usually after time when the sales are going to decline, like the game's sales are usually going to be after it comes out, and then depending on the game, like maybe it still sells well for a couple of years or so. But something like a game from 2017 on the original Switch, like there's no reason to pay full price for it. Especially since if you really want, you can try to get it used for a lot cheaper. Like, I want you to try and find a game from 2017 that is still full price. And I'm not talking about like the resale value of a game. Like if a game was discontinued or got some special release or something and went up in price because of that. Mainly look at digital. Like if you find me one AAA like full price game from 2017 that has not dropped in price since. I'm sure there's probably a couple, but it's probably not that easy to find. And now the fact that it's going up in price, like that just really sucks. And people will defend Nintendo no matter what, or say that I'm just trying to grift and say how Nintendo is evil with pricing just to get views, or I want them to just have free games. And if you watch my previous videos, you'll see I've been willing to give Nintendo credit on some of their pricing decisions, like for some of the recent games. But I don't feel that just because you like Nintendo or you like their games, that you need to defend all of their pricing decisions. And I haven't been critical of all their $70 games. I didn't criticize Donkey Kong Bonanza for that price. But if you feel that a game is too expensive, go and criticize it. We've seen it work before where a price of a game was too high and people either didn't buy it or spoke out against it and it went down. And I don't know why some people are so against doing that, or so willing to call out people who do that for whatever reason. It's just confusing to me. Like, I think game prices are subjective. Like, someone may think Fire Emblem is worth $80, someone else might not think it's that. Something else I forgot to mention was Switch Sports Resort. That's going to be I believe $50 digitally, $60 physically, but again, $50 at Walmart. Like, for that, I don't think it's an egregious price or anything. Like, I would probably want to wait for like a $30 or $40 price tag before I get that, whether it's on sale, whether I could get it secondhand. So I don't think that this is just going to be the new norm where they went through like a phase of just having these $50 games. But it is interesting to see like what they're going to consider to be a bigger game that is worth the higher price tag, or if all of the games are just going to be the same price at Walmart. I'll at least give Nintendo credit that they're actually releasing games like fully on the cartridge. Like, Nintendo themselves have not released any game key cards. Pokemon Pokopia is kind of separate from that. I think it's also going to be interesting to see how these games are affected in price. Like, what's going to be the eBay market or whatever used market is for the games. Like, are they going to go down in price more because people got them cheaper? Are they going to actually go up in price to that $60 price tag if they were a $50 game? It's going to be interesting to see. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about Nintendo's pricing decisions with these games? Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.